Let me start with this trade issue, because as we see this reverberate around the world, yesterday it was Harley Davidson saying they're going to start making them overseas. Today it's Canada saying they're going to have to impose new quotas and tariffs, reportedly. At what point do you become concerned that your party will get blamed for some ramifications back, including in North Dakota, for your constituents, that it won't be so pleasant?
Well, there are a couple of things I would say to that. One is that I'm concerned about it right now. I've been concerned about it from the beginning because I sort of joined Speaker Ryan in my concern for tariffs in general as a general tool of economic manipulation. It generally is bad for consumers and certainly bad for competitiveness. That said, this president has inherited a whole bunch of trade deals where concessions were made to other countries more to their benefit than to ours, and he has very limited tools to work with. What I would prefer to see, frankly, is that more of our public officials give the president the room that he's asked for to negotiate these trade deals, because every time we criticize him, we undercut his authority. One thing about more socialist countries, and when you talk about China in particular, they don't suffer from the same type of political opposition within their own ranks that our political officials do. Now, I prefer our system of freedom to theirs, but you're seeing the challenge of a free market in a trade negotiation with less than free markets.
Yeah, and most of us tend to be proud of the fact that we don't run the place the way a totalitarian country would do. We're happy with the fact there's some dissension going on. But there actually is some dissension even within the Republican ranks, in the Senate and the House for that matter. We just had Senator Toomey, a Republican from Pennsylvania, on. And of course, as you know, he with some Democrats and some other Republicans are saying, when it comes to national security, you may want to go after tariffs, Mr. President, but don't invoke national security, because you could see the reaction, for example, of Canada, who I think with some justification said, really? We fought wars. We've lost men beside yours. Isn't that really a problem?
Well, I think it is a bit of a problem. I don't think that the use of 232 authority, the National Security Authority, is focused enough in this situation. I mean, I represent a northern border state. Obviously, I chair the Northern Border Caucus. It's the longest peacetime border in the history of the world. So, no, I don't disagree. But I also understand that Section 232 references economic, security as part of national security. And I must say that I don't like to undercut the president while he's in the middle of the negotiations. I think there's too much of that going on, but I do think Congress needs to take a look at restoring our Article 1 authority as it relates to the use of 232, much like it should in all the other regulations that the executive branch throughout the decades has been imposing.
So, Congressman, it seems like you have a degree of patience with respect to letting the president play this out. However, I am seeing that corn prices and soybean prices have been plunging, and almost 90% of North Dakota's land is in farms and ranches. I'm just wondering, the constituents who you speak to, are they equally patient?
Yeah, it's interesting. It runs the gamut. I had a group of 7 farmers in to see Wilbur Ross about a week and a half ago. The corn and soybean farmers said, we don't like tariffs, and the cattle ranchers said, I've had nothing but bad deals my entire career. I'm willing to endure some pain to finally get a good one. And everyone else is somewhere between those two bookends. So I think it's, the farmer on the ground is a little more patient than perhaps the president of a particular commodity group. But at the end of the day, there is definitely anxiety. And what adds to that anxiety is that we've been in a low commodity price cycle for quite a while. So the timing for this for agriculture has not been great.
Congressman, I know that in general, when two candidates are running against each other, there often are pretty harsh words. Your opponent, Heidi Heitkamp, the current senator, has gotten a lot of support from the president, actually, and is considered one of the more conservative senators out there in the Democratic Party. Are there any places where you guys agree?
Oh, there are definitely. In fact, I think on this area we agree to certain degrees. I've got more patience than she does. She's been more fanning the flames of hysteria, where I've been saying, let's impose some calm, lest we become our own, our own self-proclaimed prophecy, and so we agree a little bit more on this, and we agree on a number of things related to some of the environmental policies of the previous administration, energy policies, but on the really big items that have brought this economy or skyrocketed this economy, things like tax cuts, we disagree. Things like Obamacare, she thinks it's great. I think it needs to be replaced. And these are based on votes, by the way. Iran nuclear deal was a bad idea at the time, and it looks dumber today than it did then. She supported it. I oppose it. Late-term abortion. She said she'd never support late-term abortion. She voted for late-term abortion. I oppose it. There are a number of big-ticket items, particularly in the national security realm, I think, and Homeland Security realm, where our differences are such that that's, I think, where I expect the president to focus when he's in Fargo tomorrow.
So some overlap, some differences. Take it forward to November. Where are the biggest differences that will matter to the average voter in North Dakota? Is it going to be pocketbook? And are you in danger of giving back, in terms of trade problems, what you got in tax cuts?
Well, I expect that throughout the summer and as we go into the early fall that some of these trade deals are going to fall into place. Maybe not exactly how one side or the other had hoped to, but I'm hopeful that the president's going to get some of the concessions that he's seeking in some of these trade deals. To me, it would be very important as a matter of good public policy. But what we can't do is she can't take back her vote against the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, where the Urban Institute has said North Dakota is the #1 recipient. She can't take her vote back on repealing and replacing Obamacare with something that's better for North Dakota. She can't take her vote back on supporting Iran having nuclear weapons and the Iran nuclear deal, and her statements on North Korea, and a host of other issues that she can't take that back on. This one issue, will this be a make or break deal? I don't believe that it will be, because we don't know the outcome of the trade policy yet.